Hi all, Brian McMahon here. I just want to share a couple of nice moments with you down through the years. My hurling and football career would have started in probably the back garden in Cashel Road a long time ago with my brother Liam Kieran and a lovely chap next door called Christopher Travers, where we play hurling, football, soccer, rugby. We do horse jumping. I was the youngest of the whole lot, and I was probably around 6 or 7 at that stage. So most of the games would end up in punch-ups or wrestling. More times we'd lose the sliotar or the dog. When we lost the sliotar, the dog would ate the ball. So everybody would go to bed then, and just go for school the next day. Crumlin, when I was growing up in the 70s, was a hard place to grow up with drugs and crime and great people around the area, but things weren't good. The club was, how could I say, the club was like a hub. It was like a haven where young lads and young lassies could go and play hurling and football, and that's what I'd say really about the club in them years. When you progressed from the back garden, you went to the schoolyard, under 10s, where the great Jim Boggin would be there with a couple of lads. There was School of Hayne, School of Doe and School of Tree, and most of the hurling would be done in School of Doe, where the taps were. So you'd get your hurl ready, and you get your bits and pieces ready the day before, and for about an hour and a half, you go hell for leather there. There was more tennis balls flying and sliotars, and there was probably about 4 or 5 matches going on in School of Doe, and you'd get a drink at the tap. But it was unbelievable. It was something to cherish every Saturday morning. Going to school now, I wasn't too fond of going to school, but my day just revolved around Saturday morning going to the schoolyard, and oh Jesus, it was heaven. But going forward, under 14s, we say, around that, going up to Pearse Park, you progress there, doing a bit of hurling and football, and walking up and leaving the house, and Jesus, running up. You wouldn't go on a bike because it'd be nicked. But you'd arrive there, and it was like paradise. It really was. And the grass cut and the smell of the grass, and I think there was a cricket pitch over at the back of the Star Cinema at one stage. I still remember the wooden pavilions that were burned down. But you play a hurl and you play football there, and Jesus, it was heaven. But I remember one time, for some reason, I remember there was 3 very unusual selectors that we had in probably the under 14, under 12, under 14 selectors. There was Spud Murphy, there was Paddy Bryan, and there was Paddy Heary. Now, there's a setup. But I always remember, I don't know who we were playing, but at half time, I will never forget this, that they came and gave us oranges that were chopped up. Now, oranges, when you're under 14ish and they're chopped up, you're saying, hang on a sec. It was unbelievable. After these 3 lads, and you were getting oranges at half time, so things could only get better. But things moved on. Things went on to under 21. Played with some great players under 21 in hurling and football. We won a couple, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 football, maybe 2, and a couple of hurling. It was unbelievable. So that was that's when my myself started taking started saying, hang on a sec, this is not too bad. Progressed on to the senior team. I was 18. I always remember the morning very well. Up in Pearse Park, we played O'Toole's. There was Christie, there was Billy Maloney, and there was Maurice Kerrigan, 3 selectors. I think they got a bit of grief that they had picked me to play against O'Toole's that morning, because O'Toole's, as I remember, were a hardy physical team, and I played left corner forward to that morning. I'll never forget. I went up an hour before it, and I always remember there was a couple of young kids, and they were driving the ball in at me. I was standing at the goal, and Paddy Heary came up and he was putting the nets up and the flags, and just saying, look, back, I'll give her a lash today, just do what you do. And everything went well, and we actually bet out tools that day. Then I progressed on to the Dublin team with the great Jim Boggin and Lar Foley, and they showed me all the tricks of the trade from slick as Jim was to the other lads, Lar, who was stonewall mad, to the harder sorts of stuff. But people say to me, I'm not going to mention any players because I think it's very unfair, because there's so many players. I could talk here all night. Between juvenile, under 21, senior, everything. I cannot, because there's so many, too many. I usually don't sort of do this sort of stuff. I talk about these sort of things. I'd rather do me talking on the pitch as I did. Well, I hope I did in both hurling and football. So I'm not going to mention any players. It'll all be in the book. But personally, from All Stars to Raven Cups to Blue Stars to Shinty, it all goes back to the parish. It all goes back to the club. And that's where I learned my trade, was in the club. It was only for the lads, the lads that played in juvenile, all the way up to senior. And people say, oh no, he must have been gifted, he must have been this, that and the other. It was all the lads and the lassies that I grew up with, that I trained with, that I had to, that I not had to, but I trained with. And trying to better myself and better in myself. Well, I'll leave it with two little stories. Before I went training to the Unit 10s on a Saturday morning, I would go up to the shops in Cashew Road, get the medium for the stew on a Saturday, and eventually I'd come back and give to my mum the whole lot, and out the door for under 10 training in the schoolyard. I would wait for the 55 bus at the bus stop in Cashew Road, and a lot of people know where the bus stop is, where we lived. And I would wait for the bus, and I would race the bus from the stop to the crossroads on Stanley Road. And you'd never beat the bus, but that was my sort of G-up to go to the schoolyard on a Saturday morning. People say to me, would I ever, would I do it again? Would I go back now and do what I did from under 10? And all I could say was, I would love to get out of Cashew Road and race that bus, because I would really, really love to be under 10 again. Listen, thanks again, and best of luck, and God bless. Thank you.